All right, last lesson in chapter 5, and actually last lesson of the semester, is graphing inequalities with two variables. Okay, so we've been graphing inequalities, basic ones. We've been graphing compound inequalities. Now we're going to graph with two variables. And those two variables are going to be x and y. Okay? Okay. We're just going to jump right into an example. Okay? Think back to last chapter. What was last chapter all about? Y equals mx plus b. Does that look pretty similar? Can we get it to that form? Okay, because since we're graphing, we're not graphing them on a number line anymore. We're graphing them on a legit coordinate plane. Okay, so remember our friend, y equals mx plus b. Okay, on this one, what's the problem though? Is it in that form yet? No, we want to get it to that form. What would be my first step to get it in that form? Yep, we're going to subtract 3x on both sides. Just act like that inequality is an equal sign. Okay, and we have negative y is less than negative 3x plus 2. Okay, should be writing this down in your notes. And then, what did you say?
You divide by that with that negative.
Yep, it's not by itself yet. We want to get that negative out of there. Get negative 1 out. So we have y. What happens to the sign? Flips because
You're
dividing by a negative, and we get 3x minus 2. Okay, we know how to graph that, right? Everyone should be saying yes.
Yeah.
We know how to graph that. Don't think about the inequality right now. Let's just graph it like normal. Okay, where do we start graphing that?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Where does that go? Which direction?
Down.
Down 2. I'm going to switch to red. Down 2. My starting point's here. What do I do now? Graph the slope. What is my slope? Up 3 over 1. Remember, treat this as over 1. So we go 1, 2, 3 over 1. And it's in the positive direction. Okay. On a normal graph, I will want you to graph as many times as you can, if you can get to. But now this is the new part. We've all done everything so far. We've done that before, right? Okay, new part is we got to decide what kind of line we're going to have depending on what kind of inequality we have. If it doesn't have equal to on it, let me back up. If it has equal to, it's going to be a solid line. If it does not have equal to, it's going to be dashed. So what's our sign in this one? It's not equal to, it's just greater than, right? So we're going to have a dash line. So make your line dash, and we want to make it go all the way through the graph. Okay? So since we do not have an equal to sign underneath here, we got to have a dashed line for our line. Is everyone okay with that step right there? One more step we got to do is we got to determine which values are true for this statement here. Now it says y is greater than, we're going to shade either up here or down here. If it's greater than, where are we going to shade? Greater than is up top. So we're going to shade here. Those are all your solutions. Okay, so that's the last thing you're going to do for a problem is shade. Okay, so if it's greater than, y is greater than, we shade up. If it said less than, where would we shade? Down, because all the less than values are over here. Okay? Yes. Yep, let's look at another example. You guys get this into the form that we want first. What form do we want to get it in? Y equals mx plus b. Go ahead and get that form done first. First step with these, is this in the form that we want in order to graph? No, we want to get it in that form. What do we do first? Subtract x. I don't like red. Subtract x. So we're left with 5y is less than or equal to negative x plus 10. Why did I put the x in the front? In the front of the 10. So, yep, so it's in that form. We want y equals mx plus b. Okay, what would be my last step to get y by itself? Divide by 5 to everything. So what am I left with? What am I left with?
Y is less than or equal to negative 1 over 5 x plus 2.
Yep. Y is less than or equal to negative 1 over 5x plus 2. Now, is this in a form where we can graph? Yes. So let's graph. What would be my first graphing point?
Up 2 on the Y.
Up 2 on the y. And then where do I go from there? Down 1 to the right 5. Good. How do we know if it's right or not?
Negative is less than, and if you shade.
Yep, because our line, remember it's negative, so our line needs to be going like it's down a slide. Okay? We have less than or equal to. What does that tell me about my line? It's going to be a solid line because it's equal to. So we're going to have a solid line. Whoa. We're going to have a solid line through here. Okay? Are we done or do we have one more step?
One more step.
One more step. It says y is less than or equal to. Do I shade up top or below? Why below? Because it's less than. Okay, so we shade below. How we feeling? Not bad? The only new thing is the shaded or dotted line and then the shading. Okay? Go ahead and try this one. Let's talk about this for a second. It is okay if we do not have a y and an x. It's okay if we just have one of them. If you only have one variable, you just have to get that variable by itself. So we only have x. How do I get x by itself? Subtract 5 first. So I have 3x is less than 9. Last step would be to divide by 3. So we have x is less than 3. Can we still graph this?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Where is my x-axis at? Is it this way or is it this way? It's sideways, right? So find positive 3 on the x-axis. Do I go right or left? Right.
Yeah.
Right. Find positive 3. Now, that's the only point we want the graph to hit. So am I going to draw it this way, horizontally, or am I going to draw it vertically? Up and down, okay? But what do we have to be careful with?
Dotted.
Why does it have to be dotted?
Because it's not equal to.
Right, dotted line. We still have to do what? We still have to shade. It says x is less than 3, so where are all the values less than 3? Left, right? All the values less than 3 are to the left of 3. Give me a number that's less than 3. 2. 2 less than 3. Where's 2 at in this graph?
Right there.
Right next to it, right? Is it in the shaded region? Yes, that's how you know you did it right. Okay? Let's look at one more. This one here, last one. It's already alone, so just graph it. And this one, y is already by itself, so we can just go straight into graphing. Y is greater than or equal to negative 8. Where do I go with the negative 8? Where do I graph? We're going to go down 8, right? Pretend down 8's down here. Okay? Now, what's our next step?
Shade.
Draw our line, right? Is it going to be shaded? Or sorry, is it going to be solid or dotted? Why solid?
Because it's equal to.
Because as equal to, are we going to go horizontal or vertical? Why horizontal?
So we're not touching any other things.
Because it's not touching any other y. Good. Are we done?
No.
No, we have to do what?
Shade.
We have to shade. It says y is greater than or equal to negative 8. Since it's greater than, are we going to shade up or down?
Up.
We're going to shade up. All of this needs to be shaded. Questions on graphing two variable inequalities?
No.
Not bad? Remember, it's the same thing as what we did last chapter. You're just adding in the different graphing portion. Okay? Do we all remember slope?
Yes.
Slope is still there in our brains. It will never go away. Okay?